I borrowed money I didn't even have to buy a surprise gift, but when I presented it with excitement, and looked away, whispered something to a friend, and left me holding both the gift and my broken pride. 3 months ago. I thought I was the luckiest guy alive. Sarah and I had been together for 4 years. We were talking marriage, kids, the whole dream. She trusted me completely. Would leave her phone unlocked around me, tell me about her day without editing anything out, fall asleep with her head on my chest like I was her safe place. I had all away for what I convinced was just friendship. It started innocent enough. LinkedIn message from Emma, this girl I knew in college. She'd moved to my city for work, didn't know anyone. Just wanted to grab coffee and catch, she said. I told Sarah about it. She even said it sounded nice, that I should help Emma settle in. Red flag 1, I didn't mention how Emma looked in her profile picture. How she'd gotten even more beautiful since college. Coffee turned into lunch. Lunch turned into after work drinks when Sarah was working late. Emma would text me funny memes during the day. I'd find checking my phone constantly, getting this little thrill every time her name popped. Red flag 2, I started putting my phone face down when Sarah was around. The worst part, I knew exactly what I was doing. Every deleted text thread, every working late lie when I was really getting dinner with Emma. Every time I'd come home and Sarah hello tasting guilt on my lips. But Emma was exciting. She laughed at all my jokes, touched my arm when she talked, looked at me like I was the most interesting person in the room. Sarah knew all my stories already. With Emma I could be mysterious again, important. God, I'm such a cliche. The night it happened, Sarah was visiting her mom. Emma had broken with some guy she'd been seeing casually. She was crying, needed someone to talk to. Could I come over? Just as a friend. I sat on her couch. She curled next to me, her head found my shoulder. She looked at me with those eyes and whispered, thank for being here, and I her. Not some passionate movie. Just a soft, gentle that felt like falling off a cliff. She me back. We didn't stop there. I drove home at midnight, hands shaking on the steering wheel. Sarah had texted me goodnight hours earlier with a heart emoji. I stared at that message for 10 minutes in my driveway hating. But I didn't stop seeing Emma. For 3 weeks I lived this double. Coming home to Sarah who'd light when she saw me, who'd ask about my day and actually listen to the answer. Then sneaking out to meet Emma, who made me feel alive in ways I'd forgotten existed. Sarah started planning our anniversary dinner. 4 years together. She was so excited, kept dropping hints about big news she had to share. I nodded and smiled and felt like was crawling my throat. That's when I got the text that destroyed everything. Emma, we need to talk. It's important. She was late. I'd been sitting at the coffee shop for 20 minutes, checking my watch when she walked in looking pale. No smile. No hello. Just sat down across from me and folded her hands. I'm pregnant, she said, the world tilted sideways. My coffee cup felt too heavy in my hands. Sure, 3 tests. All positive. I couldn't breathe. Sarah's face flashed in my mind. Her excitement about anniversary dinner. The way she'd been humming while making breakfast that morning. What do you want to do? I whispered. Emma's eyes filled with tears. I don't know. But she deserves to know the truth. Emma knew about Sarah. Of course she did. I'd mentioned my girlfriend early on, back when I was still pretending this was innocent. Please, I said and my voice cracked. Give me time to figure out how to tell her. Emma shook her head. She's been posting about anniversary dinner all week, about how happy she is. I can't let her sit through that dinner not knowing. My hands were shaking so hard I had to set down my cup. If don't tell her tonight, Emma said, standing. I will. She left me sitting there staring at the ring of coffee on the table, feeling my entire imploding in slow motion. I drove home in a daze. Sarah's car was already in the driveway. The house glowed warm yellow through the windows. I could see her moving around in the kitchen, probably making my favorite cookies for later. I sat in my car for an hour, practicing different ways to say it. But how to tell someone who loves completely that been living a lie for months? The front door opened. Sarah appeared on the porch in the old sweater of mine she liked to wear, squinting into the darkness. Okay, I've been sitting out there forever. I got out of the car on unsteady legs. She met me halfway the walkway, took my hands in hers. They were warm. Mine were ice cold, scaring me. She said softly. What's wrong? I looked into her eyes, still full of trust, still full of love. In a few minutes I was going to watch all of that. We need to sit down, I said. Her face went white. Oh God, are sick, is it Dad? No, it's some about me, something I did. We sat on the couch where we'd watched 1,000 movies together. Where she'd fallen asleep on my shoulder just last weekend. Her hands were still holding mine, but I could feel her starting to pull away without actually moving. The words stuck in my throat like broken glass. I've been seeing someone else. Silence. The kind that makes ears ring. Then so quietly I almost missed it. What? Her name is Emma. We've been, for about a month now. Sarah's hands went limp in mine. She stared at me like I was speaking a foreign language. You've been cheating on me. I nodded, unable to speak. She pulled her hands away, wrapped her arms around herself. How long? A month, maybe a little more. Who is she? Someone I knew in college. She moved here and have slept with her. The question hit like a physical. I closed my eyes. Yes, Sarah made this sound. Not quite a gasp, not quite a cry. Like all the air had been out of her lungs at once. She stood fast, stumbled a little. I'm gonna be sick. Sarah, please, don't touch me. Her voice was different now. Hollow. Don't dare touch me. She ran to the bathroom. I heard her throwing, heard her crying. I sat on that couch and listened to the sound of my girlfriend's heart breaking, knowing I'd caused every sob. When she came back out, her face was red and puffy. She looked at me like I was a stranger. There's more, I said, because I couldn't make this any worse than it already was, right? Wrong. She's pregnant. She caught herself on the doorframe, but barely. Pregnant, she repeated. We just found out today. I came straight home to tell. Came straight home. She laughed, but it sounded like crying. How generous of fun. She walked to the mantel, picked the framed photo of us from last Christmas. We looked so happy, so in love. She stared at it for a long time. Then she'd against the wall. The glass exploded everywhere. Our faces smiled from the floor in half by a jag. Get out, she whispered. Sarah, we need to talk about this. We need to figure out who. She screamed at this time. Jito, you go, Drew. I'd never heard her scream before, not once in 4 years. Sarah was gentle, soft-spoken, she solved problems with conversation and compromise. But I'd broken something in her that couldn't be fixed with words. I grabbed my keys, my wallet. At the door I turned back, she was kneeling on the floor, trying to pick pieces of broken glass with shaking hands. Was running down her finger where she'd herself. Sarah. Lemmy. The only thing that's is that I 4 years loving, I left her there, bleeding and crying by the shattered remains of our together. I'm writing this from the 24-hour diner where we had our first official date. The same booth actually. The waiters who seated us that night is working tonight. She remembers us. Asked where my pretty girlfriend was. I just ordered coffee and started typing. Tomorrow I have to tell my parents, my friends, my coworkers who've heard me talk about Sarah for years. I have to explain to everyone who knows us how I destroyed the best thing in my for someone I barely know. Emma's been texting me all night, asking if I'm okay. If I told Sarah, I don't know what happens now. I don't know anything anymore. All I know is that 3 hours ago I had a home. Someone who loved me, a future I was excited about. Now I'm sitting in a diner at 3, typing a confession to strangers on the internet because I have nowhere else to go. They say don't know what happened till it's gone. They're wrong. I knew exactly what I had. I just thought I deserved more. It's been 2 weeks since that night. 2 weeks of living in a hotel room that smells like industrial carpet cleaner and broken dreams. I keep thinking it'll get easier. That the sick feeling in my stomach will fade. That I'll stop reaching for my phone to text Sarah good morning before remembering she blocked my number. It's getting worse. The news spread faster than I thought possible. Sarah told her best friend Maya. Maya told her boyfriend. He told his roommate. His roommate works with my cousin. By day 3 my phone was buzzing with messages I didn't want to read. Dude, what the happened with Sarah? Is it true what I'm hearing? Man, I always thought 2 would get married. My mom called on day 4. The disappointment in her voice was worse than if she'd screamed at me. Sarah's mother called me. She said quietly, she wanted to return the bracelet I gave Sarah for her birthday. Said she couldn't keep it, that bracelet. Mom had saved for months to buy it. She'd been so excited to give Sarah something special, kept saying how Sarah was already like a daughter to her. Mom, I can explain. Can really explain how away a girl who loved enough to drive 3 hours to take care of me when I had the flu. Who remembered my coffee order and brought flowers every time she visited. I couldn't, because there was no explanation that made sense. No reason good enough. She's pregnant, isn't she? This other woman. Word travels fast in small towns. Yes, silence stretched between us like a chasm. I raised better than this, Mom said finally. I don't know who become, but it's not the son I'm proud of. She hung. I sat in that hotel room and cried for an hour. When I was 7, I'd broken Mom's favorite vase playing football in the house. She'd hug me while I sobbed apologies, told me accidents happen, that things can be replaced but people can't. This wasn't an accident. And some things can't be replaced. Work became. Sarah and I had been together so long that everyone knew her. She'd come to office Christmas parties, company picnics, happy hours. My coworkers loved her. She remembered their kids' names, asked about their families, brought homemade cookies to share. Now they looked at me like I was a stranger. Jennifer from HR pulled me aside after a meeting. I don't usually get involved in personal matters, she said, but Sarah was special. We all thought so. Who barely knew I had a personal, made a comment. Hared and Sarah broke. That's too bad. She seemed like good people. Good people. Past tense. Like she died. Maybe she had in a way. The Sarah who trusted completely, who loved without reservation, who saw the best in everyone. I'd that version of her as surely as if I'd put it in her chest. Emma kept calling, texting, wanting to talk about, send the future and, what this means. What it means is that I destroyed my for someone I realize I don't even know. Emma's excited about the baby. Talks about names and nursery colors and how everything happens for a reason. She wants to meet, to discuss moving in together. To plan this we're apparently supposed to have now. Every conversation with her feels like drowning. Seemed distant, she said last time we met. I know this is overwhelming, but we're in this together now. Together. We were never together. We were sneaking around, lying, pretending. That's not a relationship. That's just elaborate betrayal with extra steps. But now there's a baby coming. An innocent kid who didn't ask to be conceived in deception. Who deserves better than parents who barely know each other. Who started their story by destroying someone else's. I tried to go back to the house last weekend. Just to get some clothes. Sarah's car wasn't there, but she changed the locks. There was a box on the porch with my stuff in it. Everything folded neatly, like she'd taken care even while hiding me. On top was a notie. Don't contact me again. I mean it. I sat in my car looking at that house. The garden we'd planted together last spring was blooming. Sarah's favorite roses were in full bloom, the ones she'd spent hours researching and carefully placing. I'd helped dig the holes, complained about my back, made jokes about how we'd better stay together long enough to see them flower. They were beautiful, and she was gone. My neighbor Mrs. Chen came out to water her flowers, saw me sitting there. Oh, she said, her face falling. I heard. Such a shame. Sarah's a lovely girl. Even the neighbors were taking sides. She's been staying at her sister's, Mrs. Chen added. Looks so sad when she comes by to check on the house. Lost weight too. I drove away feeling like I was gonna throw. That night I did something. I created a social media account, just to see how Sarah was doing. Just to make sure she was okay. She wasn't. Her recent photos showed a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Dark circles she was trying to cover with makeup. Her sister's arm around her in every picture, like she couldn't stand on her own anymore. The worst part was the comments. Hope you're doing better, sweetie. Deserves so much better than that pipe. Glad found out what kind of person he really was before married him. Before married him. I scrolled back through old posts. Found one from 3 weeks ago. A picture of her trying on wedding dresses with her sister and mom. She was glowing, radiant, spinning in this beautiful white dress with the biggest smile I'd ever seen. The caption read, "Can't wait to marry my best friend. 4 years together and he still makes me laugh every day. Found my forever person." I slammed my laptop shut and put my fist through the hotel room wall. The next morning, my knuckles were swollen, and the hotel charged me $200 for the damage. I paid it without arguing. Emma noticed my hand at lunch. What happened? Nothing. Just clumsy. She reached across the table, took my injured hand in hers. We should talk about getting a place together. The baby's gonna need stability. Stability? From the man who just punched a wall because he couldn't handle seeing his ex-girlfriend try on wedding dresses. I don't know if that's a good idea, I said. Her face changed. What do you mean? I mean, maybe we're moving too fast. Maybe we should take things slow, figure out what we actually want. What I want is to build a with. What I want is for us to be a family. Family. The word felt foreign in my mouth. This wasn't how family started. This wasn't love or commitment or choosing each other. This was consequence. This was cleaning a mess. I need more time, I said. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Time for what? To go back to her. She won't take me back. She made that very clear. Then what's the problem? The problem was that I'd realized something terrible. Something that made me even more than I already did. I didn't love Emma. I'd never loved Emma. I'd loved the excitement, the secrecy. The way she made me feel like I was someone new. Someone more interesting than the guy who'd been with the same woman for 4 years. But Emma herself, the person sitting across from me, carrying my child, planning our future, she was a stranger. And Sarah, the woman I'd thrown away, the woman whose heart I'd shattered, whose trust I'd obliterated, she was everything. But understanding that now after everything I'd destroyed just made it worse. I should go, I said, standing from the table. Emma grabbed my arm. We have a baby to think about now. Can't just walk away. She was right. I couldn't walk away. I'd made choices, and now a child was going to pay the price for the rest of their. This baby would grow with parents who didn't love each other, in a home built on lies and regret. I'd already ruined my and Sarah's. Now I was ruining the of someone who wasn't even born yet. I'll call tomorrow, I said, pulling free. I drove to the cemetery where my dad was buried, sat next to his headstone in the grass staring at nothing. I messed, Dad, I said to the stone. I messed so bad I don't know how to fix it. A couple walked by holding hands, laughing at some private joke. They looked at me sitting there talking to and quickly looked away. Just another broken person in a world full of them. My phone buzzed. Text from a number I didn't recognize. This is Maya. Sarah asked me to tell she's returning the ring. What ring? Another message. The one hid in her jewelry box 3 months ago. The one she found when she was packing her things. My turn to ice water. The engagement ring. I'd bought it 2 months into the Emma situation. Had it hidden in Sarah's jewelry box, waiting for the right moment to propose. Planning to pop the question at our anniversary dinner. Sarah had found it while packing her. She'd found the ring and realized that while I was planning to propose to her, I was sleeping with someone else. While I was picking out forever with her, I was throwing it all away. Another message from Maya. She said to tell that if proposed, she would have said yes. She was ready to spend her with. Hope it was worth it. I sat in that cemetery until dark, crying next to my father's grave, holding my phone with its screen full of messages I couldn't bear to read. The ring was probably sitting in a drawer somewhere now, a symbol of everything I'd destroyed. A promise I'd never get to make because I'd already broken every promise that mattered. Tomorrow I'd have to call Emma back. We'd have to make decisions about this baby, about our future, about how two people who barely know each other are going to raise a child together. But tonight, I sat with my dad and admitted the truth I'd been avoiding for weeks. I didn't just lose Sarah. I'd never deserved her in the first place. 6 months later, I'm rating this from the hospital waiting room. Emma's in labor. Our son will be here soon and I feel nothing but dread. The months between chapter 2 and now have been a masterclass in consequences. Emma and I moved in together after she started showing. Not because we wanted to, but because it seemed like what we were supposed to do. 2 bedrooms in a complex that smells like old cigarettes and broken promises. We split the rent, share the couch, and pretend we're building something instead of just surviving it. We don't love each other. We both know it. But there's a baby coming. So we play house and avoid eye contact and count down the days until we can figure out what we've done to our lives. Emma talks about the future like it's a movie she's excited to watch. Names for the baby, plans for family vacations, how we'll teach him to ride a bike together. She's creating this fantasy family in her head where we're happy and in love and meant to be. I nod and smile and feel my soul dying a little more each day. 3 months ago I saw Sarah at the grocery store. First time since that night. She was in the cereal aisle, looking tired but somehow more beautiful than I remembered. She'd her hair short, was wearing a dress I'd never seen before. Moving on. Becoming someone new. Someone who'd never loved me. She saw me before I could hide. Our eyes met across the Lucky Charms and Cheerios, and for a second, time stopped. Then she looked away and kept walking. Like I was invisible. Like I'd never existed at all. I followed her at a distance watching her shop. She moved differently now. More carefully. Like the world might hurt if she wasn't paying attention. At checkout, she was ahead of me in line. The cashier, an older woman with kind eyes, chatted with her about the weather. How's the wedding planning going, honey? The cashier asked. We're so excited last time we're in. Sarah's face went completely blank. There's no wedding anymore, she said quietly. The cashier's expression crumbled. Oh sweetie, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have. It's okay. People don't know. She paid for her groceries and left without looking back. I stood there holding my frozen dinners and watching through the window as she loaded her car and drove away. The cashier looked at me suspiciously when it was my turn, like she could smell the guilt on me. That night, I did something I'd promised I wouldn't do. I drove past Sarah's sister's house where she was staying. Her car was in the driveway. Lights were on in the upstairs bedroom. I sat there for 2 hours, hoping to catch a glimpse of her, hoping she might come outside, hoping for anything that might make me feel less like a ghost haunting my own. She never appeared, but her sister did. Came marching out to my car in her bathrobe, fury written across her face. Are kidding me right now? She knocked on my window. Are seriously sitting outside our house like some creepy. I rolled down the window. I just wanted to make sure she's okay. She's not okay. She hasn't been okay since destroyed her. But that's not concern anymore. I love her. The words came out before I could stop them. Jenny, Sarah's sister, looked at me like I'd just claimed the earth was flat. Love her. Lovey her. Her voice got louder with each word. Don't get to love her anymore. Lost that right when decided to sleep with someone else while planning to propose to her. I made a mistake. A mistake is forgetting to pick milk. A mistake is being late to dinner. What did was a choice, 100 little choices over months and months. Don't dare call it a mistake. She was right. Every text to Emma. Every moment I chose excitement over loyalty, novelty over love. All choices. She's in therapy now, Jenny continued. Did know that, twice a week trying to figure out how to trust people again. Trying to understand how someone she loved completely could betray her so completely. My chest felt like it was caving in. She won't date. Won't even consider it. Says she can't tell the difference between love and lies anymore. Broke something in her that might never heal. Jenny stepped back from the car. Emma's having the baby soon, right? Focus on that. Focus on the family chose when away the one had. And stay away from my sister. I drove home to Emma, who was folding tiny baby clothes and humming lullabies to her belly. Who looked at me with hope in her eyes and asked how my day was. I lied to her too. Told her it was fine. Last Mama started getting excited about me meeting her parents. They were flying in for the birth. Wanted to get to know the father of their grandchild. I've told them all about, she said, glowing with pregnancy hormones and misplaced optimism. They can't wait to meet the man who makes me so happy. Makes her happy. The woman I cheated with, gotten pregnant, and now lived with out of obligation. The woman I could even pretend to love. Her parents arrived yesterday. Jim and Carol, mid-60s, kind faces, the type of people who bring homemade cookies and remember birthday. We're so excited to finally meet, Carol said, hugging me like Iowa talks about constantly. We went to dinner. They asked about my job, my family, how I met Emma. I found lying again, editing our story. Making it sound romantic instead of sordid. Making sound worthy instead of broken. Emma's always been our dreamer, Jim said over dessert. We worried she'd never find someone who appreciated that about her. He looked at his daughter with such love, such pride, then at me with such trust. Take care of our girl, he said, shaking my hand. At our grandchild. I nodded and smiled and promised things I wasn't sure I could deliver. That night Emma was glowing. They love, she whispered, curled next to me in bed. I knew they would. I stared at the ceiling and wondered how many more people I was going to disappoint. This morning, her water broke. We rushed to the hospital, Emma squeezing my hand, breathing through contractions, talking excitedly about meeting our son. I can't believe this is really happening, she said as they wheeled her into delivery. We're about to become a family. Family, there's that word again. I'm sitting here now, waiting to meet my son, and all I can think about is Sarah. About the family we should have been. About the children we should have had together, wanted together, planned together. Instead, I'm about to become a father with someone I don't love, in a situation built on betrayal and lies. Emma's parents are here, pacing excitedly, talking about being grandparents. My mom came too, though she's been distant since everything happened. She's polite to Emma but can't quite hide the sadness in her eyes. She knows this isn't how it was supposed to be. Any word on the baby? She asks, sitting next to me. Not yet, should be soon. She's quiet for a long moment. Then are happy. The question hits me like a punch. What do you mean? We're happy. Would Emma, would this have chosen? I can't answer. Because the truth is I've never been more miserable in my. The truth is I wake every morning wishing I could go back to that first coffee with Emma and choose differently. The truth is I'm about to become a father. And all I feel is emptiness. I see. Mom says quietly. A nurse appears. The baby's here. A healthy boy can come meet him. Emma's parents rush toward the room. My mom follows slowly. I sit for another minute trying to prepare for this moment that should be the happiest of my. I walk into the room where Emma's holding our son. She's crying happy tears, exhausted but radiant. The baby is tiny, perfect, innocent. Look at Emma, whispers. Look at our beautiful boy. She hands him to me. He's so small, so fragile. His eyes are closed, his little fist curled near his face. He's perfect. And I feel nothing but sorrow. This baby will grow in a home without love. He'll watch his parents pretend to be happy. He'll sense the tension, the regret, the way we look past each other instead of at each other. Someday he'll ask how mommy and daddy met. We'll lie to him, create some sanitized version that doesn't involve betrayal and other people's broken hearts. He'll never know that his existence began with the destruction of someone else's dreams. Emma's looking at me expectantly, waiting for me to say something meaningful. Her parents are taking pictures. My mom is crying quietly in the corner. He's beautiful, I manage. But all I can think about is Sarah. About how she would have loved this moment if it had happened the right way, with the right person at the right time. About how she would have cried happy tears and called everyone she knew to share the news. About how instead she's somewhere else, trying to piece together a that I shattered. The baby opens his eyes and looks right at me. Like he knows, like he can see straight through to the hollow place where my heart used to be. What should we name him? Emma asks. We talked about names for months but never settled on anything. Nothing felt right because nothing about this felt right. Whatever want, I say. She smiles like I've given her a gift instead of admitting I don't care enough to have an opinion. Later, after visiting hours end and everyone goes home, I sit alone in the parking garage. Emma and the baby are sleeping upstairs. Tomorrow we'll take him home to our apartment that smells like cigarettes and failure. I'll teach him to walk and talk and ride a bike. I'll love him because he's innocent in all this. But I'll never stop wishing his story had started differently. My phone buzzes. Text from a number I don't recognize. Saw the birth announcement on social media. Congratulations. It's unsigned but I know who it's from. Sarah. Somehow someway she saw that Emma posted about the baby. She's congratulating me on the birth of the child that represents everything I destroyed. I type and delete a dozen responses. I'm sorry. I love. I ruined everything. In the end I don't reply at all. What could I possibly say? I sit there until security asks me to move along. Then I drive home to Emma and our son and the I chose when I thought I deserved more than what I had. The worst part isn't that I lost Sarah. The worst part isn't that I'm trapped in a loveless situation with someone I barely know. The worst part is that I borrowed someone else's future to pay for a moment of excitement. And now everyone has to live in the aftermath.